So let's talk about projections. What's fun about these is like you're going to learn all these concepts once, and then we're going to go to the next database, and a lot of these concepts being almost exactly the same. So projections exist in all of these different databases. It's probably something you've actually done before and you didn't know that there was a term for it. So let's say we wanted to go find all the dogs, but we only wanted to see their names. We don't actually want to see anything else about them. We just want to return their names. We use something called a projection to do that. So I'm going to say db.pets.find, and we're going to say type dog, and we're going to end that object. We're going to provide a second parameter to this find query here, and all we want to do is get the name. So we're going to say name, and here you can put a lot of things. You can put true, you can put 1. I end up normally putting 1. I think that's just from habit, but whatever you want to include in your results, you just put that. And I'm just going to say here limit 5, so we don't get a ton of things back. And you can see here, all we're getting back is a name, whereas up here we're getting the name, the whole object back. Now here's a bit of advice for you when you're writing your particular database queries. Do the projections, right? Only include the things that you need for your query, don't include other things. It's a security thing, which is useful that if someone can get into your app server, they can't see data flowing in and out of it. You'll notice that this is just smaller in general, right? So you'll end up using less bandwidth. It's just a good idea to always only include the things that you need, don't include the things that you don't need. So even in this particular case, notice it's including the ID. It does that by default no matter what. If I wanted to not include that, you can actually come in here and specifically disallow that. So if I put -1 there or false, both of those would work. You can see it should not include that. Oh, it's 0 is not include. So there you go. That way we actually even disinclude the underscore ID as well. So just to prove my point here, you can also say name true, breed true, and we'll do ID false. So all of those work as well. And another thing that you can do as well, you can actually just disinclude things. So if I do ID false like that, it'll include everything else. So that kind of takes a disallow list kind of approach to projection as well, that he's like, specifically don't include these things, include everything else. So let's say like you're querying a user database that has like their password hash in it. You could specifically disinclude that if you don't need that for whatever you're doing. So that's a lot of what's about querying MongoDB. So at this point, you're probably pretty well equipped to just go out there and start reading from MongoDB. The nice thing about like learning these databases is like 85% of the use case can be learned in about, I don't know how long we've been talking, about an hour, something like that. And then there's like a very long tail of like really wild stuff that they can do. So we'll talk a little bit about the wild stuff, but for the most part, I just want you to be familiar with all these different databases so that you can make intelligent decisions about which one you want to use for your app.